Hi guys. Creative Market is actually one of the first online marketplaces where I began to sell my work when I first learned how to digitize my artwork. It's very easy to set up a store here. The payout structure is really simple. You get 50% of everything that sells here, and you can request a payout when you accumulate at least $20. This marketplace is really popular with graphic designers, print-on-demand entrepreneurs, small business owners, content creators, digital marketers, and anyone who needs good quality, ready-made digital assets without having to hire a custom graphic designer for every project. The things that sell really well here are fonts, graphics, illustrations, all kinds of templates, patterns, digital backgrounds, and mockups. Every week, Creative Market do a freebie drop for their newsletter subscribers, which is great for both buyers and sellers. If you make your product available for this freebie drop and it becomes really popular, then you can really boost the rating of the rest of your store. So it's worth including your work in there every once in a while. So I've recently finished this pattern design and I was just ready to package it and upload it to Creative Market. So I thought I'd share the process with you as well as a few do's and don'ts along the way. So let's jump in.
Okay, so we're in Photoshop. This is the editable file of my pattern. I'm just going to turn off pattern preview for a moment. And if we look inside the layer panel, you can see I have all of my colorways there clipped to the pattern below. And the folder called pattern contains all of the individual layers. Those are the motifs, the elements that make up this pattern. And apart from exporting the pattern tile itself in the various colorways that I have here, I'm going to have to export every single one of these motifs on their own individual layer in PNG and JPEG formats. But as you can see, most of the layers have a layer mask over them. So if I go to export each individual layer, they're going to show up as a piece of it, like a jigsaw puzzle, rather than the entire element. That is because when I was making a composition for this pattern and juxtaposing all these different elements together, I had to erase certain parts of it. If you want to see what I mean and watch how I've actually made this pattern, you can do that in my other video called Toile de Jouy, where I show this process step by step. I have this other Photoshop file where I've stored all of the elements that make up this pattern from when I initially drew them by hand, scanned them, and edited them and cut them out from their background. Here they all are. As you can see, it's just line work on transparent background. And again, if you need to see how I've done this in detail, you can watch it in that other video called How to Make Toile de Jouy in Photoshop. And now all I need to do is make sure they're all turned on, hold down Shift, select all of them, right-click, and quick export as PNG. And I'm going to group them into a folder called PNG. Repeat this process, but this time export as a JPEG. And as before, I'm saving them in their own folder called JPEG. So just to show you what I'm including in my product so far, I don't need to include the Photoshop file with the elements in it. So I'm going to set it aside. What I have is the Photoshop file with my pattern tile in it and the two folders with the individual elements in PNG and JPEG formats. Next, I'm going to go back to my Photoshop file and export the pattern tile in the 4 colorways that I've prepared, which should be easy enough. With the pattern preview activated, just go to File, Export, and again, we're going to do it in 2 formats, PNG and JPEG. My colorways are blue, green, red, and black and white. Here they all are on my desktop, and I'm just going to select them all, right-click, and place them into a folder, give it a name, right-click on that folder, and compress it. And it's this compressed folder that we'll be uploading to Creative Market. Okay, so I'm in my seller account in Creative Market, and I'm going to add product. Most of this is self-explanatory. I'm just going to add the product title here. Product category is graphics, and then it goes into a subcategory of pattern. Preview images are super important. These are the recommended dimensions. I'm going to create a new file in Photoshop with these dimensions and make some preview images. This is where you can, first of all, include all the relevant information about what is on offer in this product, what's included, and also showcase your design on some high quality mock-ups so that buyers can visualize it in real life. People who shop on Creative Market are usually someone who works in design one way or another, so they're highly visual, and it's important to make some beautiful images here. By the way, you can also include videos in the previews as well. So here's what I've come up with. The first image gives sort of a general vibe and a snapshot of what is included. These are my colorways, some ideas for what products this design will look good on, a bit more information on what is included, and a few mock-ups. I've saved my preview images on my desktop, and I'm just going to drag and drop them here into the preview section. Make sure they're in the correct order. Sometimes they get a little jumbled up, so you can drag them and move them around. Alt text helps with site accessibility for visually impaired people and those who use screen readers. For my product description, I've actually given this prompt to ChatGPT and asked it to write it for me in the interest of working smarter, not harder. I think it's done a pretty good job. Funnily enough, the next question is about AI. It's asking if I've used AI in producing this design. And no, I haven't. It's all hand drawn. I can also edit the search engine listing to customize it, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. It will get populated later once the listing is live. Finally, this is where we can upload the actual product itself, and I'm going to drag my zip file here. Next is pricing, and Creative Market sets the price automatically. You can change this, but bear in mind that Creative Market uses its own internal data on what they would expect the sort of product to sell for here. So if you set your prices much higher than this, then it might reduce your chances of making a sale. Here we can tick the software that our product is compatible with. And finally, I'm just going to add a few tags to help with the searchability of this design. Last but not least, don't forget to tick your product as live, because if you just save changes, it will sit in your drafts and you'll be wondering why you're not making a sale. And that's it. The product is listed. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to help these tutorials reach more people. And I'll see you next time.